everyone, I'm back with another House of the Dragon video. Today I'm looking at the decisions made by King Viserys, most of which, unfortunately for him, his family, and Westeros, were mistakes. Before I get into the choices that impacted the realm, I think it's important to point out a personal one he made very early on, and that was not telling Emma what was happening to her when the Maesters were trying to save the baby. It's unconscionable that her last moments were filled with fear, uncertainty, and betrayal as she struggled to figure out what was going on as she was being held down. Now, I think it would be easy to just write this all off as Viserys not caring about his wife, putting the child ahead of her, or the lesser status that women had in this world. As we see later, though, Viserys never got over Emma's death. At one point, well into their marriage, he even called Alicent by his first wife's name. And as he was dying and reaching out, his final words were, "My love." I think Viserys cared so much for Emma that he couldn't bring himself to tell her what was going on. This was a very selfish thing for sure, but I think it was more from his own discomfort or perhaps even inability to accept what was happening than a real disregard for her well being. All of this is important because this avoidance of conflict and of reality, along with an inability to be more transparent with those closest to him, continued to create problems. He demonstrated this behavior again when he then failed to tell Rhaenyra in advance that he was marrying her good friend Alicent. Now, while I don't think this news would have ever been well received, Viserys made the situation even worse by blindsiding her. Now, some people might feel it's just a sign of the times, and Viserys showed his lack of respect for women when first not telling his wife about her condition, and then his daughter about his second marriage. But if he was really that type of person, he would have never named Rhaenyra to be his heir. And this is a decision that he knew would not be approved of by many houses, but it's one that he stuck with until the bitter end. Initially, Viserys ceded too much power to Otto Hightower and was at points manipulated by him. A prime example is the rift with Corlys. This benefited Otto because it raised the station of his own house while alienating a powerful one in the Velaryons. And it wasn't just Viserys marrying Alicent over Corlys's daughter Laena, but the way Corlys's concerns about the Stepstones were completely disregarded. This was bad for the realm, but good for the Hightowers. That's why Viserys' best decision as king was to remove Otto's hand, and consequently that would leave bringing him back as the worst one. One thing Viserys was adamant about was that Rhaenyra was his heir, but he didn't do enough to ensure her succession, and bringing Otto back, with a clear vested interest in having Aegon take the throne, just added fuel to the fire and increased the chance of conflict. So what could he have done after the death of Lionel Strong? His best move would have been to name Daemon his hand. He would have been the perfect counterbalance to Viserys, and no one would have dared to challenge Rhaenyra's succession then. And while the two were sometimes at odds, this was mainly due to them being very different people. In the end, they were brothers, and despite the disputes, the tight familial bond was still there. Daemon never tried to usurp Viserys, and many of his actions were due to him just trying to get the respect and consideration he felt he deserved. Whether it's wishful thinking on his part or an unrealistic desire to bring his entire family together, Viserys completely miscalculated. He wasn't a stupid man, but perhaps he just wasn't good at reading people and their intentions. That could be why he allowed Otto to be hand for so many years, and he was unable to see at first how badly Corlys had been alienated. Only the decision to have Rhaenyra and Laenor marry rekindled that alliance. Sometimes rulers become so insulated too that they just see their decisions as law that everyone needs to follow. And although people must obey or face the consequences, most challenges to a king are not made in public. It's almost as if Viserys felt that the power of his decision that Rhaenyra would ascend to the throne would have the same force even following his death. Concrete actions matter. When Rhaenyra suggested that Jace and Helaena marry to bring together the two factions, Viserys was overjoyed by the offer. But he did nothing to make it happen. It was another big missed opportunity. Viserys didn't have to be in a position where, close to death, he had to return to the throne room just to save Rhaenyra and her children. A long line of bad decisions, the avoidance of conflict, and the inability to appropriately interpret the intentions and feelings of others put him there. That's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you're interested in more House of the Dragon content, listen to Caraxes and subscribe. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon.